Hi, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial YouTube channel. Seth, you're just talking about how you don't know how to spell that.
You
I
can't
don't know how to
see
say
it.
it
Oh,
either,
man.
apparently. What's up, Joji? Yo to you
Joji,
twice.
good to see you.
Yo to you twice, Joji. Good to have you here. Today we've got Seth hopping on the channel. I think you've been on the channel a time or two, maybe, but it's been a little while. So we're just generally gonna chat, see what's up with Seth in his business life, Amazon, and maybe if you want to share at some point a little bit about your YouTube stuff you got going on. But Kelly, you had a question for us?
Yeah, so we normally do a would you rather. So are you ready for the would you rather?
I'm ready.
Okay. Okay. Would you rather be stuck on an island alone or with someone who talks incessantly?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard one.
Okay,
That's
who do
a
you want
really
to
hard one.
first?
I don't know. Whoever's ready. If you're ready, just go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead, Josiah.
Oh, you're typing out your answer.
You're typing it out.
Oh, you're typing out the question. I thought you were answering it.
No, I'm stalling for more time. That was the question?
Yep.
So stuck on an island alone or with someone who won't stop talking? And how long are you stuck on the island for?
Okay, you like to ask me all these questions. It's open and
I need more data.
What does it keep?
Just indefinitely. Would it matter? If it was indefinite, what about indefinitely then?
It would matter. If it's a really, really, really long
indefinitely.
Indefinitely, I think I would like to have someone else there on the island. If
it doesn't say on the island the second part.
What?
It doesn't say on the island the second part.
Loophole.
Oh, so you're either on an island alone or somewhere with someone who won't stop talking?
Sure.
Yeah, that clarification helps.
Can I escape their presence?
He likes to ask so many questions for these things. Just answer it.
I'm going to go with the second option, stuck with someone who won't stop talking.
If it's an indefinite thing.
Indefinitely. I think having other people around you is good. I'd go crazy if I was by myself. I'd probably also go crazy if there was someone who wouldn't stop talking. But I'm assuming that there would be opportunities to put earplugs in or Bose noise canceling headphones. You know what I'm talking about there, Seth. Or just like I can run decently fast. I'm assuming I could outrun this person.
Oh my goodness.
I think what I would do is between stuck on an island alone or anywhere, like wherever with someone who won't stop talking, I would just have a heart to heart with this person and say, hey, look, like you can keep talking, but like there's going to be like some times where I'm just not going to listen to you. And like, like I love you, you're great, but like I'm just not going to listen sometimes. And like we can sometimes, but like
you really just keep talking all the time. Oh my goodness. So would it matter if it was like a 30-day thing? Like if you were stuck on an island for 30 days alone or like with somebody somewhere talking nonstop?
I think 30 days, I think I'd go with the island.
Really? I think 30 days alone would be hard. And I'm an introvert too. So I think that would be still too long.
Yeah, but I'd go like,
do a lot of fun things.
Build a tree house like Swiss Family Robinson.
That is a good
live out that childhood dream of being shipwrecked somewhere and just taking control of that island and killing all the tigers, you know?
Exactly. That's what I've dreamt about doing my entire life.
True.
I feel like he's not telling the truth.
You call him out. That's fine. That's good.
Yeah. Well, what's up, Joji and RW? What's up? What's up? So we're chatting here with Seth. So you've been full-time Amazoner for 2 years? How long now?
I have been full-time selling online since March 2020.
Oh, wow.
Basically, I took the leap at that point. I was in my internship. I was going to school to be a clinical mental health counselor, and I was selling part-time on eBay at the time. And internship basically got discontinued indefinitely. And I'm like, well, I'm going to try full-time reselling because that's kind of what I wished I had more time to do anyways. And we'll see if I like this. And as like the weeks passed, I was like, yes, this is definitely 100% what I want to do.
So you're doing it part-time? Is that what you're saying?
I was doing it part-time while I was in school, but then like this was the first time in a very long time that I had full-time effort towards reselling in general. So I ended up really, really liking it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, way cool. And that started with eBay, and you were doing Poshmark or something like that, right?
I was doing eBay and a weird app called Depop.
Depop.
It's never heard of it. It's the first website that I started selling on. Basically, my brother came back one Mother's Day, and he was like, "Bro, I'm making $600 a month selling used clothing," and he was selling on Depop. And I'm like, interesting. I was a student at the time, so I was like, I'll give it a shot. Depop kind of like, it's not my favorite site to sell on at all. Just the amount of customers on it isn't enough. But like, so Depop and eBay is what I was selling, mostly used clothing and shoes and stuff like that. Like I didn't understand electronics or anything else at that point at all.
Very cool. And so fast forward today, you're full-time primarily on Amazon, and now and then you liquidate your junk pile on eBay. Talk us through like that transition from kind of when you're doing something like eBay or Depop, you're doing everything yourself, and it's I assume mostly like garage sales and thrifting. And I'm in a lot of different eBay Facebook groups still, and a lot of recurring themes I see are people struggling to let go of doing everything themselves, trusting other people, including the mail system. They have a strong distrust of the mail system. There's some reason for that, but like 98% of the time, like the mail system's fine. Just in general, I think most of these eBay people think they're making a ton of money, but they're probably making like $2 an hour. And so transitioning
or it's like $7.
Yeah, maybe $7. Yeah, you actually Yeah. Transitioning to something like an Amazon FBA business, while it is reselling, it's completely different in my opinion. And I kind of went through that too, as a big mind shift. You have to let go of a lot of different aspects. You have to be okay with lowering your margin extremely. You go from like maybe 500% margin stuff from a thrift store to like 50% is like a really good margin on Amazon.
Yeah.
So how did that journey kind of go for you?
Yeah, definitely think it's a slowly over a long period of time journey. At least it was for me anyways. Like I was shopping at basically the Goodwill liquidation center where you buy stuff by the pound. So like stuff was like $1. Worst case scenario, you sell it for $5 after all the fees and shipping and everything. But like it was a long time investment to like take pictures of everything and then like ship everything. So I guess the transition point was the first big transition point was I'm going to try selling used books on Amazon as like an addition to what I was doing. And I realized that finding inventory was easier. And also the listing process was much faster. Instead of taking pictures and shipping items, which maybe pictures and listing took like 5-6 minutes per item, and then the same thing for shipping, it took like 3 minutes, even with Seller Central, to just list your book and send it out, and you kind of make a similar amount of profit. So leaning on that system of Amazon FBA was kind of the first step. I'll try and go. I mean, there's a ton of different steps and points that like shifted my mindset. At one point, I was like, man, Inventory Lab's way too expensive. Like paying at the time $45 a month to list my stuff. Geez, that's so expensive. But then at one point I had like 200 books and I sat there and I'm like, all right, this is, if it takes me 3 or 4 minutes to list all these items, and with Inventory Lab, it could take me a minute or two. Like I'm going to save like 4 or 5 hours here. And I have the free trial to try. So like, I should just try this and see how much time I save. And like, it's just like gradually step by step, like what can I do to increase my like hourly input if I were to like pay myself and track like, all right, in this week, I sent in 2,000 potential profit to Amazon, or 3,000 or 4,000 in X amount of time. So like, what can I do to like basically increase my hourly input, if that makes sense? I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a really good way of thinking about it. And I definitely ran into some similar stumbling blocks with the softwares. I think I recently was going through my like monthly accounting, and the amount that I spend on subscriptions for the Amazon business is a little ridiculous. And I cut 1 or 2 out because I was like, I'm not even using that. I'm spending $100 a month on it. That's kind of silly. But for the most part, those are all super, super useful in that it's saving me a ton of time. Or in the case of things like Keepa or RevSeller, it's helping me make much more educated decisions. But it was difficult to bite the bullet in the early days when there wasn't a ton of excess cash to pay for that kind of stuff. But yeah, realizing that, okay, if I pay the $50 for this a month, it'll save me this much time, which will give me more time to go source more stuff and make more money. Oh, yeah. It isn't a sunk cost of $50. It's actually going to help me make an extra $1,000 a month or whatever it might be.
And sometimes it's literally that dramatic. Like one inflection point, this is, well, we're kind of like stacking from like super basic to like slightly still basic. We could get more advanced soon. But like another one was like, for a while, I would go to a thrift store and try and scan every single book with my Amazon seller app. And I was like pounding my head against the wall. Like it was taking so long. But like in my head at the time, I'm like, wow, I found $40 profit and it only took me like 43 minutes. Wow, that's so good, because I came from like eBay world. And I think at one point I'm like, all right, like I'll try Scout IQ. They have a free trial, whatever. And then it's like double, triple that. And then like you get a Bluetooth scanner and like it even goes even faster. Especially the Bluetooth scanner. That was like a $40 investment to like go twice as fast. There's just so many like little improvements that you can make in your business to just speed things up dramatically.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So you kind of transitioned to used books and got comfortable with the Amazon platform and using FBA to fulfill all those, which that's a huge time savings. If you're going from fulfilling everything yourself on a platform like eBay, or even merchant fulfilling on Amazon yourself, to pushing everything to the warehouse, like ton of benefits. As far as like that alone can increase your revenue and profit, because you now have Prime offers, but you also save a ton of time packing stuff and buying boxes. And oh shoot, I'm out of tape. I need to ship 10 things today. I guess I have to run to Walmart, and that adds an extra, 30 minutes to what could have been
more like 45 minutes, honestly. Like takes a long time to do errands. People forget, like, goodness, errands are like stay away from that.
Dude, especially in your area, there's too many people living on those mountains.
It's true. Denver sucks. Like if it's like, well, like I love Denver, but like the traffic's not great. You got to be careful when you're out.
Sure.
Everybody loves Denver. That's a problem.
Yep.
So yeah, you got to Amazon FBA with books, and then at some point there, you transitioned out of books.
Yeah. So restock limits happened, and like it was this big tragedy to me for like a month. Like looking back on it, I'm so thankful for it. But like I had this plan, like I was going to have 5,000 active books. Like it was going to be a ton more money than I've ever made at that point. I was really looking forward to it. I was like close to the goal. And then May 21, I think it was May 21. Basically Amazon instituted restock limits, and I had around 3,000 books active, and they said, all right, Seth, you can have 1,600 books active. So
wow.
I was able to sell through those books. And I also like purged all the worst of my inventory, of course. But I wasn't able to send in anything for probably a good 2.5 months. So I was like, that whole time I was trying to think like, all right, like how can I continue doing books? Because like my restock limits aren't really increasing as time went on. So like maybe I need to do like 1,000 slots books and then 600 slots, like something fast moving, like grocery or something. So I kind of decided it was basically between that or like doing merch fulfilled. And I was like, I am not doing merch fulfilled. I don't want to do merch fulfilled with books. Like, that's not me. I don't want to like hire 3 employees to like build the system of doing merch fulfilled. So I figured I was going to raise my limits by selling through fast selling RA inventory. And that was in my head, it was going to be an addition to make books work. But then I started doing it, and after several months, I kind of realized like, oh, like they're replenishables even from Walmart or like thrifting, or maybe not replenishables from thrifting, but like there were certain items from Walmart that you can make a lot more money and sell much faster than like selling books. That's for sure. Definitely lower ROI, but that was basically why I even tried to sell anything different than books, because I was very much so like, books is the only way to make money on Amazon. I'm an Amazon seller. I sell books. Like bro, there's other things besides books out there. Like you don't just have to sell books. So that was kind of the next step in how I got into other things.
I'm sure that's similar to many people that start on selling on Amazon. They start with, or maybe they started selling on eBay and then they start selling books on Amazon, and then now they do a bunch of other things. So what made you, so obviously it was like a forced transition to go to from like books to like, I have to put something else out there to like make money for these, 2.5 months besides books, so I can't replenish it. So what made you like transition to doing other items, and like what did you first start looking at? Like where did you learn? Did you go to like YouTube to like learn it? What did you do?
Yeah, I definitely went to YouTube to learn it. I had been learning like books from YouTube. Like I think I was learning from like Hustle Buddies, and I took one of their like replenishable courses. And I was starting to learn retail arbitrage and online arbitrage a little bit. I was trying to replenish the stuff that I was finding in the store and just like see if they had it in stock on their site. Yeah. Sorry, what was the question? Like how did I start learning it?
Yeah, like because obviously it was like a forced transition. So like how obviously you had to fix that issue within like 2.5 months. So like that's pretty quick transition to go like all of a sudden. So I'm just curious, like I'm not asking obviously what products, but like what made you like, was it online arbitrage first? Was it retail arbitrage? Like
it was definitely,
you learned through a few courses. So
yeah, it was definitely retail arbitrage first. I don't think I think there were a few times where I did book online arbitrage, like with a couple books that like were high priced, but for the most part, I really didn't know how to do online arbitrage. And I wasn't comfortable with the online arbitrage margins at that point. But like purchasing, basically, like I think I was going to Trader Joe's for a while. I got my grocery on gate.
Okay.
I went to Trader Joe's. I was going to Walmart. I was going Walmart to Walmart, doing Walmart clearance. I, for a while, like in the summer of 2021, I think a lot of people were doing pools and like chlorine and all that. I definitely wasn't in the know at all. But I was selling like 22 caliber ammo from like the lock boxes in the ammo section. You had to do like a weird hazmat shipping, but I was selling those and that was going pretty well. Not like crazy well, but like they were selling really quick for like good margins. Yeah. And
that's
then
what you needed.
What's that?
And that's what you needed at the time.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I think I started trying to do a higher and higher percentage of online arbitrage. Instead of just going store to store. I was like, all right, I have these replenishables that like I'm tracking on my computer. Like I like make a list, like go to these Walmarts, try and get this many of each thing. I figured I should just try and do that online. And that started working out more and more. Eventually got into like selling some Nike stuff for a while. Like Air Force Ones and stuff at the end of 2021. That was pretty good. But kind of around that point, probably the next step to get me closer to where I am now, doing the eBay to Amazon flips, is my wife's parents were selling their business, and they were selling the business that they had been in for 20 years. And like I talked about reselling all the time with them. Like I talked with my wife's mom, my mother-in-law, to the point like she loves the thrill of the hunt and like estate sales and stuff. So I set her up with like a Scout IQ like account, and she would like scan books sometimes at estate sales and find me really good books.
That's awesome.
So that was fun. And so she was like, yeah,
so your first employee.
But she just like did it for fun, so it wasn't really like,
yeah. I'm just teasing.
yeah, but kind of. But basically they like were fine with me selling the stuff in their office, which was a huge deal because I was able to get free inventory and help them clean out a building that they had been in for 20 years. And so I discovered the world of vintage electronics and office supplies and like all that crazy stuff, and like looking up hundreds of free items that you know you're going to make money on. Like my eyes were open to like, wow, there's so much more than just like going from Walmart to Walmart or selling used books. Like there are things that like someone was using regularly 15 years ago, but it's broken now and they want the same thing that they know how to use, that they're willing to pay top dollar for. So I would get the stuff. Some things sold well, some things didn't sell well, but the things that sold well, I'm like, shoot, how can I get more of these? Kind of like Josiah, like I think you did a lot of RA at one point, and you're like, I would love to get some more of these like really fast selling items. Where can I get them?
Yep.
eBay.
Right.
So I started like really hammering down on eBay. I started getting used to the margins being a little bit lower, doing completely online arbitrage. It's still not as low margins as traditional online arbitrage where you're like super thrilled with like 30% ROI.
Sure.
But it's a lot lower ROI than like buying something from Walmart and it being like 100% ROI. So that's kind of how I got started with the eBay flips.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then a big transition there of like how each stage sounds very similar to you, of like learning, like doing it all yourself, and then switching to like, okay, like I'm going to actually try to, instead of doing books, like I'm going to try selling another random item I find at a store, local store. And then you're starting to ship a lot of that stuff yourself. And then switching to online, like you now have to ship a bunch of stuff out from somebody who's going to pack it for you. And so like that's a big transition. What also made you switch to like, I was joking about your mother-in-law, no offense to your mother-in-law.
No.
Oh, I'm just joking. But what like made you transition to like upgrade to like have people do these things for you, whether that be like a software or people that like contractors, like people like you have send in stuff to FBA for you, and then like your VAs now, like your employees, like how, like what made you like, was that a long-term transition, just like slowly step by step, or was there like a forced stop of like the book one being a great example of like, you were like, I'm out of inventory, like they're now shutting down my inventory, I have to start something else?
Yeah. So I think the way that I started delegating more with my eBay to Amazon flips was I started doing the eBay to Amazon flips probably August, September of 21. And at the time, I was like watching a lot of like flips for Miles's content and Fields of Profits content. And they were talking a lot about, they were talking a lot about selling on Amazon, etc. And at the time they were also talking about posting on social media and how talking to other sellers can really help out a lot. So I decided, you know what, like I'm able to do this full time. Like I was making a decent full-time income on like 25 hours a week, maybe. So I'm going to devote another 10, 15 hours a week to posting on social media and kind of just see how it goes. Like I'm expecting I'm just going to post stuff into the void for 6 months and nothing's probably going to happen. And before it has any kind of positive impact on my life, but I decided I would just take the leap and try it. But within like probably 2-3 months, so maybe October, November, I started like really getting some traction, at least talking with other sellers. I ended up getting in a group chat with a bunch of other sellers who were probably doing, at the time I was probably doing like 15K a month. A lot of these people were doing 30, 40, 50K a month. And so to me, I was like, kind of like, oh my gosh, like these people are just like crazy. And just like hearing them talk about like their Amazon thought process. And it was a given that we use a prep center. It was a given that we have a lot of capital invested in the business. They talked a lot about credit, mixed opinions on that for sure. But like there were a lot of like givens that these people were talking about that like kind of just shattered some beliefs for me. So around December, I made 2 very big changes in my business. Number one, started using a prep center, which was so helpful. That saved me so much time. And then especially in addition with the next one, which is at the time I was probably only invested anywhere between like 7 and 12K for my entire inventory. Like I was trying to do online arbitrage with like $7,000. And so like to a beginner, that sounds like a lot of money, but like if you really want to do online arbitrage, that's like pebbles. Like it's like nothing. Like we both spent $7,000 like I don't know if I've spent $7,000 in a day, but like pretty close. You probably have, but yeah, like to have $7,000 in your entire inventory and then expect to make 5K plus in a month is like not super like not going to work. So I took another $10,000 on a 0% APR card. I like, it's a very risky thing, especially if you don't understand your business model. I would probably suggest like if you can find actual cash that you have to use, that would be better. But for me, it increased my revenue from 15K a month to I did 30K in December, and like profit margin's really good because I was like super meticulous with what I was purchasing, and it was really in demand stuff that people wanted. So that was probably the 2 biggest things that changed for me in my Amazon business at that point.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's like over a long period of time, you know, like a slow shift with some like hard deadlines you have to meet.
Definitely makes it easier when you see you're talking about you got added to a group chat with a bunch of other sellers that were a little bit ahead of you revenue wise, right, and as such a little bit ahead of you with some of the processes and delegation. And so seeing other people do it and realize like, wow, that is possible. Like you can trust a prep center, or, you know, there's other ways to scale and delegate tasks out. Right. Really helps the mind shift of what's realistic and able to be done. And then as you're going through it, you have people that you can ask questions about it. Like, hey, like this prep center is saying this, like, is that normal, or are they stealing my stuff and leaving it in their front yard?
Right.
But what's up, Echo Flips? Good to see you, man.
Cody here.
Hey, the Lego office
you got good eyes, man. He's talking about
that's the box.
That box right there and the sets right there. Yeah. The Lego, if you're an Office fan, check out the Lego Office set. It's good. They got so many little what do you call them? Like Easter eggs hidden throughout that relate to like probably most every episode in the nine seasons, right? Yeah. Good fun. So you're sharing a little bit about the transition to getting to online arbitrage, getting some help running through the business, and then we'll fast forward to today. If you don't mind sharing, you were telling me the other day about hiring someone locally to help you with some stuff. Do you mind sharing about that?
Yeah, and real quick too, also in December. So basically, in any business, or at least in Amazon business, there's kind of like three parts to it. Like, do you have enough money invested? Are you able to find enough profitable stuff? And can you prep the stuff? So basically, like, I majorly upgraded all three of them because I also hired a virtual assistant to help me like find some products as well with that. But going forward, speaking of hiring someone locally, interestingly enough, he's a high school senior, and he like has done like he has gone on Facebook Marketplace specifically to find like Lego minifigures, and then he sells them on his Instagram.
That's awesome.
Like some high end like Lego minifigures, which is interesting. I never knew about all that. So speaking of Legos, but yeah, so basically for probably the last year and a half, like Josiah, like both of you guys know, like we get returns, unfulfillable inventory, and it's like, I don't know if you feel a similar way, but it's like, it doesn't take me that long to deal with these, but like, oh yeah, I just need to prep these stack of boxes and then it's going to get better. And like, I think I told myself that like over and over again, especially like last year I was selling used items to a prep center. And so that caused a lot of returns. And so I was getting lots of returns. I still get plenty of returns now, but a lot less. So I decided to just bite the bullet and hire someone to oversee the listing of all that stuff. And along with that, with some of the delegating stuff that I've been doing recently, my input into the Amazon online arbitrage business has been like less. So it's been probably anywhere from like 12 to 15 hours a week that I've been doing. So I'm like, I'm bored. Like I need something else to do. So ironically enough, I've been thrifting, which is a kind of
come full circle.
Full circle. So having an Amazon online arbitrage business, like slightly like mostly delegated, and then now I thrift. So maybe I need to find something else to do. But I'm trying to thrift now in a way that like I find the stuff, I give it to my lister, he lists them. So basically that makes thrifting a lot more time effective, because sometimes with thrifting, you go out and you thrift and you're like, wow, I found $150. But then you go home and it still takes you double the amount of time to list it. In some cases, depending on kind of what you're thrifting. If you thrift like printers and stuff like I do sometimes, it takes a while. So basically like it's a bit more time efficient now to like, if I thrift something, I kind of write down some information, and the idea is that eventually he'll be trained well enough to list all that stuff mostly on his own with some supervision. So I'm trying that out. We'll see how it goes. But he seems to be super sharp and kind of picking everything up pretty quickly. Listing is not that hard in the grand scheme of things. So I don't know why I didn't do it earlier. I mean, I did it with books, but I tried it with RA, and it was kind of it did not go very well at all. So yeah, so that's kind of what I've been up to as far as the listing, having someone list for me.
That's awesome. That's a really good transition and way to squeeze some money out of those returns and your hobby of thrifting, I guess, that you've picked up.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
I
don't know how long I'll continue doing it.
Yeah. Finding the stuff is the fun part, like the thrill of the hunt. Everything that comes after, up until putting it in a box and mailing it to someone, isn't quite as exciting. They don't show that part on Pawn Stars or no. What's the show I'm thinking of? The storage auction.
Oh yeah.
They just show the thrill of like finding what's in the storage unit, and then like the stuff magically sells, right?
It's probably
that's $100. That's $100. That's $100. $300.
Wow, I made $300 in 15 minutes. Like, no, like, they have an overhead and like marketing and like they have to sell the stuff and probably ship the stuff too, depending on how they liquidate it.
Yeah, goodness. Exactly. The greasy, sweaty part of the job.
Yeah, for sure.
As we wrap up, what can you tell us a bit about your YouTube? That's something else you've been spending a decent amount of time on the last year or two. I forget when you said you started. You're like, I guess posting on Instagram, you said, was kind of like 2021. And now you've got a YouTube channel with quite a few subscribers and lots of videos and lots of helpful content. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. So I started it in like late 21. Probably was spending 10 to 15 hours a week on it. For a while, I was going pretty hard with it. Super excited about this. Like, I think I'm probably by the time, well, I mean, I guess this is the live. So I was going to say by the time this comes out, I'll be monetized, but it's out right now. So
sorry.
You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds. I don't think I'll be monetized in 30 seconds, but I'm super close finally on watch time to getting monetized, which is cool.
That's awesome.
It's an interesting thing because honestly, I probably won't be making that much money from it for a long time, but it's been a goal for a long time. But yeah, it's been cool to, I think the biggest like benefit on my side to running social media is just like when you're helping someone, it's just interesting that like the people that you get to talk to, like people will just reach out and ask questions, and then like you'll pick up a little thing here and then you'll pick up another thing here. And then suddenly, like as you post more stuff on social media, it seems like you or I could be like so much more connected, like knowledge wise, than like the average person who just like watches a YouTube video and like doesn't talk to anyone. Like I thought I was being super proactive by watching a lot of YouTube videos, and like that is proactive, and like I learned a lot by watching YouTube videos, but you learn so much more by having conversations with people that you're developing friendships with, who also sell on Amazon, who like you've helped them, they've helped you. Both people have a vested interest in helping each other because they know that like if I keep helping this person, they're going to keep helping me out. And like hopefully it's not as like like I do this to get this as that, and if you do it that way, you're probably not going to do super well. So like trying to like give first and like give a ton of value, and like maybe they'll give back is probably a better way of going about it. But like Josiah and I have been friends for a long time, and I would like to say that I've helped you a lot. You've definitely helped me a lot.
Absolutely.
Like it's just interesting. Like I could just like grind and like keep my head focused and like not talk to anyone, but like I get to learn from Josiah's mistakes and he gets to learn from my mistakes, and like I've had a lot of mistakes. So we both get to learn, and that's been a bunch of fun. So it's more fun too, as well as also learning faster. Like I think there's something about learning with other people that things just like click a lot easier, and you get to kind of almost have similar beliefs that your friends have that you wouldn't have gotten by yourself. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, guys.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. And thanks for sharing like the value you've gotten through being interactive and proactive with social media and YouTube. I think like any industry, any business, any career, there's tons of value you can gain from interacting with other professionals that are doing the same thing as you for the reasons you just said. So whether you're selling on Amazon FBA or you're just have a lot of different entrepreneur things, or you're an engineer or a counselor, like after you get through school and you learn the initial things, maybe through watching and consuming a ton of YouTube or a course, the next way to take it to the next level and keep yourself motivated and on top of the changes going on is to interact with and bounce ideas off of and share your mistakes with others that are in the same career field. Because
For sure.
there's a good chance that the mistakes that Seth made, I made the same mistakes. Or maybe I thought about that thing and I might have a solution that Seth hadn't thought of, or vice versa. And I know we've both helped each other back and forth try to fix problems that we've created for ourselves. But thanks so much for coming on, Seth.
Yeah, for sure.
Really appreciate your time, man. And we'll link your socials down below. Checkmateflips on Instagram, and that's your YouTube channel too, right?
Exactly. Checkmateflips on all platforms. I don't really post on TikTok, but I do post on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter occasionally. So yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. It was a bunch of fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Seth.
All right.
Bye. There you go.